By now you've heard that the Whisper of the Worm, along with some other exotic weapons and armor, they will have a significant change when the Season of Opulence comes out. This weapon is going to have a pretty dramatic nerf, and I wanted to make a video giving my thoughts and opinions on it, but I also want to see people in the comments below share their reaction to these changes. From what I've seen so far, it has been very negative, the feedback that people have had to these proposed or these upcoming changes when Opulence comes out. But I wanted to give my thoughts and reaction to it. Definitely, in my opinion, here is, I think, a lot different than most content creators, because this weapon in particular, this mission, has dramatically improved my channel. A lot of people have found this channel because of the Whisper of the Worm streams that I do here on YouTube, helping people get this weapon. And I do want to say that no matter what, I will keep doing those streams. A, because I like the mission, and B, I do think it's still going to be a weapon worth having, a weapon that you're going to want to have in your arsenal, because it will still be effective for a lot of different encounters. But let's jump right into it. What are the changes that are going to happen when the Opulence season comes out? The big change, or the only change, surrounds the White Nail perk. And right now with this, if you get 3 precision hits in a row, then you will have 3 shots magically refill the ammo for this weapon. When the Opulence season comes out, you're going to more or less revert back to Destiny 1 and Black Spindle, where you'll get 3 shots, but they're going to be pulled directly from your magazine. So in essence, you go from a infinite ammo supply right now to a finite ammo supply when those changes go into effect. Now, to offset that somewhat, they're going to change the overall magazine from the 9 shots that it has right now to 18 shots when this change goes into effect. So they're doubling the ammo, but you're going from infinite to finite. So that change, when you look at it from just a high level standpoint, it is a huge nerf for this weapon. No longer will you have an unlimited supply of sniper bullets here to rain down on your enemies. However, when you look at it a bit further, how does this impact the overall effectiveness of this weapon? And I think to understand that, number one, we have to kind of have it in action. The best experience, I think, is actually trying things out. But when you look at here some encounters that this weapon is known for, I do think it's still going to be just as good as it is now. So here I'm on the EDZ. We know that on the EDZ there's things like the Burguzia Forge. At the end of that forge there is a fallen Walker tank, and the Whisper of the Worm absolutely dominates that encounter. I think that when they make this change, if your team is using Whisper, you're still going to be able to burn down that boss extremely quickly. So even with the ammo changes, it's still going to dominate that encounter. The same can be said for public events like the Fallen public event on Titan, taking out the tanks at the end. The same can be said versus any Cabal tank. It's still going to dominate those encounters even with those ammo changes. But let's look a bit further. What about things like raids? Well, you have the Scourge of the Past raid, Insurrection Prime. Whisper is one of the primary weapons to use against that Fallen vehicle at the very end of that mission, or that very end of that raid, along with Darcy. The Whisper is still going to be dominant here as well. If you have a team of 6 players, that's 108 shots that you would have. You can very likely 1 or 2 phase Insurrection Prime with that amount of shots. The same can also be said for the Last Wish raid. If you go over to Last Wish, the Whisper of the Worm is one of the go-to weapons, or one of the go-to strategies versus Morgoth, along with Escalation Protocol Shotgun. Again, 108 shots at 90,000 damage if you have the Catalyst. Morgoth, the Hive Ogre, is still going to fall in a disgusting heap like he does right now, even with the changes. If you look at the Shattered Throne, that's another issue, or another instance where the Whisper shines against both the Ogre as well as versus Dolan Karu. 18 shots at 1 million damage each versus Dolan Karu. She is going to fall just like she does right now. So when you look at some of the encounters that Whisper is most known for, in my opinion, even with these ammo changes, it's still going to do just as well as it does right now. So in many ways, the effectiveness of this weapon has not been reduced when you consider those encounters that it most shines in right now. The big change to it is the overall mystique of the weapon. With Whisper, this weapon truly feels exotic. It truly feels like you are harnessing the power of Zol. When you look at the lore for this weapon, kind of being the embodiment of Zol, this weapon right now, it feels like you have that power in your hands. And when they make this change and you no longer have infinite ammo, they are taking that away to a certain degree. But I think the overall reaction here has been a bit over the top, especially with some of the other content creators and some of the vitriol, the pitchfork, the torches mindset. I don't share that. If you guys watch this channel, if you guys watch the streams, you guys know I'm pretty laid back when it comes to a lot of these things. Definitely bringing the more PG aspect to this game. But I think that you have to kind of take it a step further here and look at how the weapon is used right now, and will it still be as good? In my opinion, it will. I do want to reserve some judgment to when the changes actually take place and actually try this thing out. But I think the overall reaction has been a bit over the top when it comes to losing their minds over the changes to this weapon. No doubt about it, I think the armor changes are way more significant than the changes to the weapons. Changing things like Orpheus rigs for the Hunter, changing things like the Phoenix Protocol for the Warlock, those are going to dramatically and fundamentally change how certain encounters play out. And that's going to take a lot of adaptation too from the player standpoint on how to either use those exotics more effectively or looking at different exotics to use for any given encounter. But along the same lines, I think we should wait and see how things play out, both from the changes to those weapons and armor that have been mentioned, but also too from things that haven't been announced yet. Maybe some other exotic weapons and armor are going to be bumped up and augmented and become the new thing that people like to use or should use for certain encounters. I want to give my thoughts here, guys. Overall, I still think Whisper is going to be dominant. I'm still going to keep doing those live streams. I like doing those live streams. I've helped hundreds of people get the weapon and catalyst, and I'm not going to stop doing that. Hopefully you guys feel the same way. I want to give my thoughts and opinions on it. Please, in the comments below, try to keep it cordial, try to keep it rational, but I do want to see your comments down below. I am looking forward to Season of Opulence. I can't wait for it. Hopefully you guys feel the same way. I want to thank each and every single one of you for supporting the channel. It means a great deal to me. Thank you so much for watching. We will catch up soon, and see you guys when Opulence comes out in June.